our elders to thrive and for the community to flourish. These homes are also a tangible expression of the government's commitment to sustainable development and nation building. An investment in our people, in stability, and in the future generation. As chairman of the board of directors of the Housing Agency of Jamaica, I am proud to lead an institution that is focused on not just delivering housing units, but delivering hope for young professionals, single parents, the elderly, and every Jamaican who dares to dream of owning a piece of this land we own. We acknowledge that our work is never done in isolation. To our business partners, both in the private sector and the public sector, your support and advocacy continues to shape our national housing agenda. To our partners in law enforcement, thank you for your role in ensuring our communities are safe and secure. To the staff and leadership of the HAJ, your dedication and resilience guide the success of our mission in every way. Most importantly, to the residents of Eastbury Villas, you are at the heart of this initiative. You are the reason we build. Today, we entrust you not just with the title for the lot you own, but with the responsibility of building a community. Let Eastbury Villas be a model of cooperation, respect, pride, a reflection of what is possible when government, citizens, and stakeholders work together towards a common goal. Let us also remind ourselves that nation building is not a moment, it is a movement. A movement grounded in fairness, inclusivity, and access to opportunity. With every development, every land title handed over, every life transformed, we move one step closer to creating a Jamaica where no one is left behind. Let us, as an independent nation, move forward together in unity, purpose, commitment to building not just houses, but homes, community, and a better Jamaica for all. Thank you, and may God continue to bless Eastbury Villas and our beloved nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Building a better Jamaica for all through land cycling. Thank you all. Now I'm going to ask Mr. Michael Archer, Councillor for St. Catherine West Central Division, to come and bring us greetings. And this will be followed by Dr. the Honorable Christopher Chuckton, Member of Parliament for St. Catherine West Central, bringing his greetings as well. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
If Bob Marley was here today, he would say, don't worry about a thing. Every little thing is going to be alright. Let me first acknowledge the presence of our Prime Minister in our presence this afternoon in Eastbury Grove, and also our Member of Parliament, Dr. Christopher Tufton, and all protocol observed. Can we not sit down and give them a clap, you know. We have to stand up and give them the round of applause they deserve this afternoon. Let me first, by saying to you this afternoon, I am no stranger here, a son of the soil, one that born, grew, and lived within the vicinity of Eastbury Villas. And I clearly say to you this afternoon, where we are standing today, it didn't just come here by surprise, or yesterday pop up to see today. I first would want to give a big round of applause to the security force, the St. Catherine, the entire Jamaica security force here this afternoon. Give them a round of applause. For those of us that know Eastbury Villas, over the years, Neesbury Villa at one point, he was afraid to enter this community. Once upon a time, violence would take the major part of Neesbury Grove. When one would mention about land in Neesbury Grove, the land is there. Persons acquire the land but are afraid to enter their property. And I must say thanks to the security force to let this afternoon be the afternoon that it is going to be. They have played a critical role in bringing Neesbury Villa to control us where residents are happy, grow their family, and also be a part of a strong development in Neesbury Villa. They deserve a big round of applause. Residents, I have walked this community. At one point, I hear that HAJ, when them come through and them walking and some resident lock up out of the house and now hands at them and all kind of story. So I decided one afternoon now to walk with Miss Stewart. Miss Stewart, raise your hand, please. I tell you something now. Looking at Miss Stewart today and seeing Miss Stewart in the community walking is a totally different person. Because when she come out in her broad hat and her dark glasses, sometimes even in her little mini water boots, and decide to walk the community because she said she wanted to ensure that residents play their part by paying for their property. And she has done a marvelous job. I went to a resident property one afternoon with her. And so the lady said, you know me darling, me can't afford much, you know. But sometimes if I was $700, I find me pay it. And she was explaining to me that Mr. Archer, this lady almost done finished me off yard, you know. And the money wasn't big. But little by little. And I'm sure this afternoon you all have to be proud to be a part of a strong development. Neesbury Villa have come a long way and it is growing, and better is there to come. Better is there to come, because this afternoon you can't want no more than the 3 government officials involved is here with you this afternoon. So when the question are asked, it will go from one to another, but you will get answers. Alright? This afternoon will be a special afternoon for all of us. And I'm sure we have done our part, and everyone playing their part in making this a success. God bless you all and have a wonderful afternoon.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Chair, Ms. Prendergast, Managing Director of the HAJ. Chairman Norman Brown, good to see you, sir, in Kingston, who hails from the second city, or the other city, I should say, the other city of Montego Bay, St. James. The most honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Holness, welcome as usual. So you've been visiting my constituency very frequently in recent times. And each time you come with good tidings of great joy. So we don't mind your coming back, right? Okay, it's always positive. And it's always something to do with housing in the last few weeks. So good to see you, sir, and your team. And of course, Councillor Archer. Ladies and gentlemen of the Neesbury Villa community, good afternoon to you all. Afternoon. I am mindful of the rain, and I'm mindful of the fact that you're really here to hear from Dr. Holness, the Prime Minister, and the goodies that he will bring to you. And I want to hint at more than just the titles, and I'm anxiously awaiting what he's going to say too, right? But I want to firstly just come in and congratulate those who have remained loyal and faithful to their obligation, which means paying for the lands here in this community. I know there are many others before you. We've had a few of these title issuing over my tenure as Member of Parliament, and each time we commit to doing it again once others have completed that process. I want to commend you because discipline is important for development, and some of the things that you want can't have if everybody don't comply and work together. So I want to continue to urge you to work together as a community with your association. If you think it's not strong enough, change the leadership, get new leadership, expand it, because this kind of development, when it was envisioned, requires significant community-based participation. You can't do your own thing in your own little corner. There's too much to do, and you do it better when you're together. So I just want to commend you and commend that to you. But thanks to you who will receive, because you remain faithful and loyal. Those who have not, I want to urge you so to do. I want to also say that there is a lot left to be done. We recognize it, because driving into the community, you see it. And the Prime Minister is here because he's a man on a mission. He's a man on a mission to make the lives of ordinary Jamaicans, all of us, better after he would have done his term and his course than he would have seen it when he went there. I am of the same view as Member of Parliament. So we are aligned. And the representation that we have brought, I have brought, or tried to bring with my team, is to bring the residents of Neesbury Villa in line with any modern development. And that requires a lot of other infrastructure that are needed, that are clearly not here as we speak. So today represents a milestone. You're getting title for your land. That's a big deal. It has all sorts of implications. So thank yourself on that. And we want to thank the HAJ for managing that process. But we know that there are other elements of the development, and I leave the Prime Minister to speak to that. So God bless, thank you. We continue to work together, and let us just work together in the truest sense of the word, so that we can get the development that the community deserves. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tufton, for efficiently delivering your remarks to the audience. Now it's that time when we're going to have a cultural item to bring a little spice to the program. And the person performing the cultural item is Dejane Allen. Put your hands together and welcome Dejane. Dejane.
Just put it, no, she's not gonna, just take it down this stick. Can you? All right. Dejane.
Look a picnic by Maxi Romina White. You see me a look picnic, but every time you see me I want kick and box me. You see me a look picnic, but you want my car road figure beg money. You see me a look picnic, but you want me to you than look boat, baby. You promise me, my mother, on our deathbed, tell me we'll never hunger, tell me now beg bread, but no tears are shed, and gas full up my head. One thing you know, we look like dread, yes me a look picnic, but every time you see me I want to come back to me. You see me a look picnic, but you want my car road figure big money. You see me a look picnic, but you want me to tired and look to baby. We look like her, then treat me like dog. Every time they dress up my African yard. Dirty clothes, my Afro wash, my Afro sleep on the back. Them take all of my clothes and left me with two frogs. You see me a look picnic, but you want me, but every time you see me, I want kick and box me. You see me a look picnic, but you want me to like Garwood and no big mom. You see me a look picnic, but you want me to like no boat, your baby. You see me
serious point she made, you know, about child abuse and about child labor. Okay? Alright, so we should really listen to her and ensure that her children are treated well and they are not abused. Thank you very much. Just together again. Now it's that time when our keynote speaker, Dr. the most honorable Andrew Holness, will come to the lecture.
Or like Dr. Tofton was a tune. I drove up heard him singing. I would advise him to stick to the lyrics. Doreen, thank you for the master of the ceremony. And Pastor Wilbur, thank you for your prayers. Allow me to acknowledge your Member of Parliament, Dr. the Honorable Christopher Tofton, your Councillor Michael Archer, Mr. Norman Brown, Chairman of the HAJ, Ms. Ophelia Hilton, representing the beneficiaries, and you, the lovely members of the Naysbury Grove, or Villa, Naysbury Villa community, stakeholders, representatives of various stakeholder bodies who are here, representative of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Today we gather to mark an important step towards the life of this community. A moment that symbolizes not only the transfer of land, but the transfer of dignity, opportunity, and security to the people of Naysbury Villa. It is a distinct honor for me to join you in this titling ceremony. Now, over 20 years ago, this community was established. It was established under a program called Operation Pride. A program that at the core of its intention was good. There's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to ensure that every Jamaican can have ownership to a piece of land. Nothing is wrong with that. That is something that I personally endorse. And in a country like Jamaica, where the historical struggle for land is not long gone and long past, it is still close to us, even though it may be about 8 or 9 generations removed. But the truth is, today, we are in the midst of our emancipation period. And as we celebrate our emancipation from slavery and our independence from colonial arrangements, we are still contemplating how, as a people transported here, we were deprived of rights and deprived of endowments. Endowments meaning assets and resources that we could then use to build wealth and pass on to our children to break the generations of poverty that follows. Land is an important endowment that breaks the generations of poverty that follows. So any government must ensure that its people have access to the ownership of land without dispute. But it is not that simple. And for years, for decades, our politicians have played upon this notion of ensuring that our citizens have access to land by making promises and developing programs that do not pay attention to the complexity of the issue of land settlement. And what happens is that the people fall in love with the headline, everybody going to get land. Everybody must have land. And accept programs that do not pay attention to some important fundamentals. Naisberry Villa is one such result. Now, these lands would have been here occupied informally for many years before the inception of Operation Pride. Operation Pride would have come in and said, well, we're going to structure it and organize it. And they would have said to you, all right, those of you who are already living there, you hold on to that piece that you have. Those who want to come, we'll mark out some more pieces of land and you go and occupy. And then we take our time and we'll try to fix the roads, we'll try to subdivide the land, and for decades sometimes this will be going on without any resolution. Now the people who live here are very frustrated people.
That's true.
Very frustrated.
That's true.
Because the promise of pride that ownership should give, the dignity of ownership, did not materialize. Land ownership is a very complicated subject. But if done correctly, it can deliver the promise of pride and dignity. Now, we have to make a distinction as to whether or not we're going to do what is called incremental development, or we're just going to do the development up front. Now, incremental development, you go on the land, you occupy it, there's no infrastructure, no road, no water, no sewage, no provision for police station, public transportation, garbage collection, there's no land titling. And we say, all right, in 20 or 30 years, we take the time and we get to that point. Several, in fact, most developments in Jamaica have followed that course. What that course does, it holds down the potential of development. If you go through some of the informally settled communities, what you will see is that you will have some persons in there who build some lovely concrete structures.
Yes.
Yes. But they have no water.
That's right.
They have no light formally. They don't have any road.
Oh yeah.
No proper sewage disposal. But the individual ambition and drive to build my nice castle is still there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people build their nice castles.
Yeah.
But they have no security.
That's true.
Every day they live in trepidation. Worst of all, they cannot take that property to the bank.
That's true.
To get any loan.
That's right.
They can't really show it as an asset. They can't really sell it. So the value of the asset is only that you can live in it.
Yeah.
But you can't live in it comfortably. Now, maybe at that time, that's the best we could do. But I am sure that as we go forward with a growing economy, we can do better for the people of Jamaica as it relates to the settlement and titling of land and giving Jamaica opportunities to own land for the formal process. So my administration has taken a different approach to land settlement. A totally different approach to land settlement. And what we have done, yes, we are going to continue the regularization and formalization of existing informal settlements, which is why the HAJ has been doing several land titling exercises here. And it is important that we do it here, because there are people who are preying on these communities because they know you want a title. And some of them are doing all kinds of scams, telling you to pay a little money and you'll get a title. I know that this community has suffered from that.
Yes.
And I know that there are persons who have bought land here, and then when they come to occupy it, they realize not like that. Scam. Yes. So it's absolutely important that we continue to fast track the regularization of the land so that we can shut out the scammers. Because they see a piece of property there empty, and they call somebody who has seen it and say, no, we see a piece of land. Let me check it out for you, and then they call them back and say, yes, I find the owner, send me the money and I buy it for you, and they send the money, and then when they come down, somebody else have that piece of land, and sometimes they send the piece of land all 5 times over. So we know what they are going on with, and that is why we're ensuring that we give you your titles as quickly as we can. Alright? Now, I'm going to talk a little bit later. I'm going to spend a little time. So in the second half of my presentation, I'm going to talk about what we're going to do for this entire area.
Okay.
But in this part of my presentation, I just want to focus very quickly on what we're going to do for titling. Alright? Now, this administration has changed the laws as it relates to titling to make it much easier for citizens to get titles. Alright? So we have put in place something called the systematic registration for titling. We have changed the law to allow for systematic titling. And that process means that the government will declare certain communities as systematic land titling areas. And the government mobilizes all the requirements needed to get lands titled. So before you can title any land, the land has to be surveyed. How many of you know what the survey is?
I guess all of us.
Because this area has been surveyed, and it has been surveyed by the HAJ. So they send in persons with their equipment, and you see sometimes they're looking through and they hold up a stick and they're checking the points, because they have to establish boundaries.
Yes.
Now, because the land was informally settled, sometimes what you claim as your boundary overlaps with somebody else's boundary.
That's right.
Sometimes your fence in the village road.
True that too.
And sometimes there are all kinds of disputes because you believe that the fence goes so, and then it goes up the hill, and then it stops at that tree, and then your neighbor believes that no, 5 feet over is mine. So the NLA would have to mobilize the surveyors, the land surveyors, to go through and check establish boundaries. Where there are disputes, we have a committee established within the area that is designated for land titling, and that committee now is involved. It includes persons who are knowledgeable locally. It includes persons who have legal understanding, justice of the peace, and so forth. And they will meet with the parties who have a dispute, and they come to a resolution. And once the disputes are resolved, the surveys are done, then they will move it through the process of titling. And so we are doing that now throughout Jamaica. We have put in a couple parishes in that, and so systematic land titling is going on. We are going to expand that right across Jamaica, and we are going to now focus on doing systematic land titling and registration in urban and peri-urban communities, which would include some communities like this one. Now, this community is largely surveyed already, and the titling process is well underway. So why is it that we have to give out all the titles here? Well, there are a couple reasons. Reason number one is that sometimes we cannot establish who owns what. Because under the Operation Pride system, the records were not always properly kept. So sometimes somebody have a receipt, and then somebody come with a letter, right? And then somebody said, no, it was promised to me, this man had promised me this. And so there's a lot of unresolved disputes. And we have to take our time and work through those, because the persons are claiming to have rights and entitlement to property, and you can't just disenfranchise. You have to take your time and resolve it. So that's one of the reasons why housing developments like these, housing settlements like these, don't have their titles quickly dispensed with, even though they may be surveyed. The second reason is that there's a small thing of the fees and the price that you have to pay for the land. Once you come with a receipt, you know, there's an amount on it.
Right.
And some people don't pay $1 from them have the land. Even inside this very development here, some people don't pay $1. Because somewhere in the back of their mind, getting access to the land meaning you get it free. Some persons pay but still owe. And they some people fall on hard times, and they can't complete the payments. So those are the main reasons. And then sometimes you can't find the owners. People get it, and you're trying to find where they migrate, and you can't, so the land is just there. So sometimes the titles are there waiting to be given up, but we just can't find the persons. So what have we decided to do to get this process where the development estate has been surveyed? We have titles, but we just can't issue them because there's still a balance, there may be a dispute, or we can't find the owners. You would have heard me announce a few weeks ago that balances of 150,000 or less that are outstanding, that the HAJ will, I hate to say write them off, but the HAJ will grant an amnesty, and we will dispose of that amount and give you your time. So the HAJ is going through, and they are examining all their records to see who owe 150,000 or less, and to give you. But I was contemplating it, and in election time it's not the right time to say this, but look, we have to just be honest with ourselves.
Yes.
There's a principle, right? That if you had it and you paid zero on it, should you still get that write-off? Relative to the man who would try and he paid 10,000 but he just couldn't reach it? It's something that I'm thinking of. Whether or not. You know, the man who have it and never paid a dollar versus somebody who is struggling to reach it and he made an attempt and show that he's...
If you pay.
So, it would be fair to the man who struggled and paid.
Yes.
So we're looking at it to see what are the pros and cons. But when we make policy, we must always look for equity, meaning fairness.
Yes.
What is fair? So we will announce in another couple of weeks when we revise it and look at it exactly what the final position is. But certainly for those who owe, meaning that they owe a balance, that they paid and there is something left, those persons would automatically qualify $150,000 or less. Alright? So that will increase the number of persons who will get their titles in their hand. As it relates to finding the persons who are, some of them are migrated and I've given an instruction, I've given a directive to the chairman of the HAJ that you need to start an advertising campaign. You have social media now, you can do it virtually for free in our newspapers and in our newspapers abroad to say get in touch with the HAJ relative to so and so and so. We would like to resolve your title or whatever it is. But find a creative way to get in contact with the people so we can give them their time. Some of them forget about it. They don't even remember. But it doesn't serve us to have a lot that is underutilized or not utilized at all in this development. Whereas if we got to them, some of them, their fortunes have changed so much that they might say, you know what, give it to somebody else down there. Or they might say, you know what, let me go and develop the law. So let us make some effort to resolve. And thirdly, where there are disputes, we may very well have to utilize the adjudication proceedings that exist under the new titling process that we have, or create a parallel process to resolve disputes so that we can get the titles out to the people who really need them. Now, having said that, and I'm giving you the confidence that we're going to ramp up the titling process for you. Ultimately, however, you want to hear how we're going to fix your road.
Yes. 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 Yes.
How we're going to put in water.
Yes. Yes.
When what we do is we help, let us be clear on that. With the light, we do what is formerly called rural electrification, but we will assist in bringing in the light poles and all those things. But I would be lying to you if I tell you that, you know, I can give you the light. You are going to have to go and sit down with the GPS and make a connection.
Yes.
What we will do, and we have a program to do this, we will help you with the wiring and certification. There is a program for that, which we have established. And we have made it possible now for you to determine what kind of connection you will have with the JPS. Some people have post-paid connection, and now we have made it possible that you can have your pay-as-you-go or your prepaid connection, which you can manage much more easily if you are on a limited and fixed budget. So we are making the options there for you for formal legal connection to the JP. But ultimately, the light is your responsibility.
That's true. Yes, we're ready.
And don't believe I'm going to come here and tell you anything else. And I know some other people make it look like you're going to do it for free.
No freeness. No freeness.
You want to, let me finish up on there. I know what I'm saying is touching all kind of cards and people want to say all kind of things. You know, I know the experience. I know the experience. So, you know, I'm Jamaican through and through. I know the experience. So anyway, so what are we going to do here now? Now this area is, prime real estate. Prime real estate. In fact, all of this area is very good for housing development. And as you go down, what's the main road here again? St. John's Road. I used to go to school just down the road at St. John's High School. And some of my best friends used to live in this area, and we used to run up and down and have, anyway, let me not go back into those. But all of this area is a good area for real estate development. And there are about 4 developments in proximity. Some of them have approvals already. Some of them are awaiting approvals. But just like you, issues to do with, first of all, the main road access.
Yes.
The St. John's Road has just become too small.
Yes.
And it is really a flood course as it is now. And then the issue of drainage. Now, because we have started to build houses on the land without putting in place the infrastructure first, we have interrupted the normal runoff of water, number one. And with every roof, we increase the runoff of water. And once the water starts to focus, it runs with greater intensity, and therefore it can create more damage and flooding. So, in addition to the road access and the drainage plan, we also now have to look at the water supply, where we're going to get the water from. There are some sources in proximity that we will have to develop. And then we also have to look at amenities. As I walk around, Minister Tufton, I'm not going to speak too much of your portfolio. But as I walk around and I meet people, as in my constituency last night, and I came across at least 8 persons, elderly persons, senior citizens, with glaucoma. A lot of people with hypertension and diabetes. I'm seeing quite a few young persons, when I say young, in their 50s and 40s, having a stroke. The non-communicable lifestyle diseases are having a great impact on our communities. Obesity. So how we settle land and how we use land also has an impact on our health. Because when everybody put up a house and everybody chop up, and you don't have a little playing field that you can go and run.
Yes.
But the young guys, they will say, I play 6 aside and I'll go run up and down anywhere. But in older persons need a space. It's not only struggling with the market body. It's exercise. But you need, especially our men, you need a space to be able to go and do a brisk walk safely. If we are going to be able to counter some of these non-communicable diseases, these lifestyle diseases. And so when we're talking about building the communities now, it's not just the road, water, sidewalk. You have to think now about the parks.
Yeah.
Because if everything around you is zinc and packed down, you leave with that culture. But if you have somewhere where you can sit down and become one with nature and relax, it kind of changes your outlook and your mindset.
Yes.
So when we talk about building the community up front now, that's what we mean. We can't go the incremental route now. We have to start thinking about planning the community before it is settled.
Yes.
So when I say to people, listen, don't go and squat on the land. It's not because you want to have the land. I want you to have the land with all the amenities and the facilities, and that it can actually deliver for you the better life that you want, and not become trapped in a situation where you cannot find the dignity in the place you occupy. And so what we have been doing here, as we have done in Bernard Lodge, we have paid for the development of a master plan in Bernard Lodge. Between 10 and 50,000 houses will be built in Bernard Lodge. I don't know how many of you have looked over Bernard Lodge recently. Fantastic. We have put over 1,000 acres in agriculture for small farmers. And there are light and small industries developing over here. It's almost going to be an entirely new development. We're putting the water, the road, and the sewage up front. It's going to be a fantastic community. Now this part here is, this area, we have termed it as part of the greater Innswood development area. And so we're going to be doing an entire development which will stretch from up here in the hills, going all the way down to the plains, to Innswood, back down to Olava Road. And we're going to, first of all, look at the drainage for the area. See how the water flow and where we can best channel it, the safest way to protect the land. That's number one. Then we're going to study the traffic flows. With so many communities, cars coming from all over, they collide on this little road that carry almost every day people going to Dovecut and what's the name of the other one? Meadowrest. So we have to now figure out how we're going to build the transportation corridors that don't create congestion. Then we have to figure out how do we divide up this area to leave space for parks, entertainment, and commercial areas. And that is what we call the Greater Innswood Master Plan. The NHD has been tasked to take this on. There is a joint committee of the NHD, the HAJ, the NWC, the NWA, NEPA, all the entities involved to properly plan out this area. There are some proposed housing developments that already have approval. Those will be incorporated and they will go ahead. But once we have the master plan done, then the government will take on the bulk of the infrastructure costs that would be necessary. But the developers who are interested in building houses here will also have to participate because their development is having an impact on the use of the infrastructure. And so they will have to pay what is called an impact fee. All right? To subsidize the cost of the infrastructure which is going to be paid from public funds. And in that way, we can have a development that suits your needs. This community will be an integral part of the master plan. So we will be looking at your roads, how we bring in the proper water supply, how we bring in the proper electricity supply, and where we can find lands for your social amenities for your community. So this entire area is going to be the next Bernard Lodge development, where people can look for modern, decent, dignified living. It is not going to happen like this or tomorrow. But if you look at Bernard Lodge, we started Bernard Lodge somewhere in 2019, thereabout, if my memory serves me. And the plan took about 2 years to develop, and then we put in the infrastructure, and now they are starting to build houses in Bernard Lodge. So it's a long-term build-up. We don't have to worry about how Bernard Lodge is going to turn out, because we set it already. So it's going to, the same thing will happen here. We'll put you on a process that you can be assured will be properly run. Of course, that assurance really depends on who is running it. What is it, Minister? The assurance that it is going to be properly run is really dependent on who is going to run it.
That's true.
I don't need to say anymore. You know that I don't run anything chaka.
Yeah.
Right? Anything I do is decent, well-structured, strategic, and long-term, and beneficial and fair for all. So that is what you can be guaranteed will happen for your community. So ladies and gentlemen, you have been such a wonderful audience. You have listened well, and by the expressions on your faces, I know that you understand every word that I have said. God bless you, and make the best of your time.
Thank you very much, Dr. Holness. He would have pointed us to the fact that as a people who have struggled since emancipation to have adequate land, appropriate lands for all our peoples to reside on. But he didn't leave it there. He spoke to some of the measures that this government is putting in place to ensure that you can live in dignity in your communities. So he spoke to the systematic titling registration program. He spoke of an amnesty that many of you will be beneficiaries of. He spoke about advertising to find the owners of some of these developments. He spoke of a program of certification that will be done to assist you with your wiring. And of course, he spoke about putting together a team that will plan out this area so that you can have shovel-ready projects in place and if one wants to come in and invest, that can happen. Put your hands together again now. Thank you. Now we are going to move right into the issuing of the official instruments, the certificates of title. So I'm going to invite Ms. Simone Ormsby to lead on this, and she will invite the relevant personnel to assist.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, I'd like to invite the Most Honorable Prime Minister and the Chairman of the Housing Agency of Jamaica Limited, Ophelia Hilton, Donna Robinson,
I know, but I'm just making sure.
ID, no problem.
I'm just keeping coming.
Mr. Tom, Mr. Tom.
Yeah, she's coming. What is that? She look fit.
You want to the body?
What is that? What is that? What is that? What is that? Yeah, what is that?
Julian Freighter. Simone Pinnock. Alicia Williams. Shani Cormac. Martina Scully, Sonia Scully. Tahim Thomas. Monique Jumai. And Jamil Williams. Thank you, PM. Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to invite Dr. Christopher Tufton and Councillor Archer at this time. Lorraine Melado. Where's Lorraine? Ophelia Hilton. Tyler and Leroy Hamilton. Paul Simmons. Mr. Simmons, Michelle, and also Michelle McDonald. Thank you, sir.
So 21 residents in Maysbury Villa received their land titling certificate.
But not all persons came out this afternoon. But once again, let us put our hands together. We are at the end of the program now. And we're going to invite Ophelia Hilton, a beneficiary, to come and say the vote of thanks on behalf of the recipients.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
We're coming to every parish, don't you
I would
worry.
like to say
Rock Falmouth, we're coming to you soon.
to the Most Honorable Andrew Michael Holness, Dr. Christopher Tufton, Sir Michael Archer. I would like to say thank you. We, the citizens of the Nesborough Villa, would like to extend our gratitude to the hard-working team of the HAJ who made it possible for us this afternoon. We want to say thank you all for coming, and thank you to Ms. Stewart and Mr. Martin Fowler, who encouraged us so much about making our payments to the HAJ so we can get. Thank you all for coming. God bless you all.
I'm going to invite all the recipients of certificates of title to come come forward.
Charles. The balloon can move. Say that you can move the balloons kind of. You're going that way. Y'all are stuck with me all Simon. Why not if I talk about
All right, everybody.